Centro Vasco, a popular Spanish restaurant at 2235 Southwest 8th Street, recently came up for a routine health department check, and we were there.
The restaurant's owner gave us permission to accompany health inspectors on their check. What they found was a curious combination of good and bad. Example, food in a walk-in refrigerator was all covered as required by law, but the refrigerator itself was not clean. Even the ceiling was covered with thick dust, and its door speaks for itself. Food storage was good, all of it off the floor, but the floor under the shelves looked like it hadn't been cleaned in weeks. Centro Vasco's bar was in good shape, but its meat saw and meat slicer were filthy. Inspector Charlie Alexander took the slicer apart and scraped caked, rancid meat and grease from the blade cover. Dishes were clean, but the area underneath the dishwash shelf was covered with all kinds of old food buildups. Centro Vasco's ceiling and floor were also in bad repair. Interestingly, the restaurant had not one red violation because nothing that was found posed an immediate health hazard. Nevertheless, its rating was not good.
How dirty was Centro Vasco?
It was dirty enough to be termed filthy.
What kind of filth did you find?
Heavy accumulations of grease and old food on the floors, behind the equipment, underneath the equipment. Grease and foodstuffs underneath the shelving, over the stove areas, and underneath the stove shelving where it could fall into the food.
Has there been any general cleaning on a routine basis, would you say?
In some parts of the kitchen, and in some parts there are not routine cleaning, that's obvious.
Would you eat at Centro Vasco restaurant?
No.
Alexander's overall rating for the Centro Vasco restaurant at 2235 Southwest 8th Street, poor. Alexander says it is not common to find a restaurant so filthy with no red violations, but for that reason, it is not a candidate for closure under Dade County law. Bob Mayer, Channel 4 News. On its initial check, the Centro Vasco restaurant at 2235 Southwest 8th Street got a health department rating of poor. Things were quite a bit different, however, on its re-inspection.
The first time around, Centro Vasco's walk-in refrigerator was very dirty, with heavy accumulations of dust on its ceiling. Even the door on the refrigerator was blackened with dirt. Paint was falling from ceilings all over the kitchen. Floors were in very bad shape, both under the storage shelves and under the stoves. The restaurant's meat saw hadn't been cleaned in some time, and its meat slicer was thick with accumulations of old meat and grease. Stoves in the Centro Vasco were filthy, with a grease buildup so thick that Inspector Charlie Alexander could scoop it up with a spatula. On its re-inspection, Centro Vasco looked like a different place. Those old stoves had been thoroughly cleaned. This time, the spatula picked up nothing. The meat saw had been cleaned and painted, and the meat slicer was sparkling. The blade cover had no traces of the decaying food that had once been on it. Floors in the storage and stove area had been cleaned. And in the stove area, Alexander said the dirt that was now visible was normal for a working kitchen. That dirty walk-in refrigerator had been cleaned of all its dust and its shelves scrubbed. All around the restaurant, fresh paint was being applied, and a new false ceiling was being installed to solve the problem of old paint falling from the existing one. Inspector Alexander was quite happy.
My immediate thoughts, Bob, were that they have done a bang-up job of cleaning. It's obvious that someone has rolled up their shirt sleeves and really got into it with their scrub brushes. They've done a fantastic job on a lot of their equipment. The steam table area, the stoves, the walk-in refrigerator, the walls, and underneath the shelving. They've done a fantastic job. There were a couple of small items which had not been touched upon, but they were minute in detail, so it really wasn't any problem.
Are you happy with the painting and structural work that's going on now?
Yes, we are very happy with it.
Would you eat at the Centro Vasco today?
I most certainly would.
The overall rating today for the Centro Vasco restaurant at 2235 Southwest 8th Street, good. Bob Mayer, Channel 4 News.